Hey, hello everyone. This is Nicholas Hall, founder of Graham's Foundation, and I'm here with my long lost relative, Kristee Hall. Hi, Kristee.
Hi, how are you?
Great. It's great to connect with you today. So I understand that you are not only a preemie parent, but you are a preemie yourself. Maybe
Yes.
t tell me what I always ask if I ever talk to a preemie. I'm like, so tell me about your prematurity experience, and they're like, what? No, I think I was a little too small and young, but maybe you've heard some stories. Maybe your parents or others have told you a little bit about your preemie journey.
Yes, my mother actually had me at Georgetown University Hospital in Washington, D.C. And at the time, my father, military
Yeah,
based,
yeah.
Andrews Air Force Base. So she was in the ambulance for, I guess it was 40-minute ride, real bumpy and rough. And my father wasn't there. So she said when she had me, they were like, okay, we want to perform an emergency C-section. And she said my head popped out.
Oh,
So that's the funny story about that.
oh. Yes, did not heard that. Didn't want your mom to have a C-section.
Yes. So she
And
said
And you
my
know,
head just
was it
popped.
in the ambulance? Did she start to deliver in the ambulance? You know?
She said it was coming at that point,
Yeah,
and she
yeah.
was having a hard time. And when she got in the hospital bed, they were like, okay, let's just do a C-section. And she said immediately my head just popped out.
And how do you recall the degree to your how early you were born? To tell
I
you?
believe because okay, I was born December the 9th, and my due date was in February. So it was what, 2 months?
Yeah, a couple of months. It's always the math gets how well do they know exactly the date of conception and things like that. But do you remember whether did your mom mention whether or not you spent any time in the neonatal intensive care unit?
Yes, I was there for 2 months, and actually, when I came home, it was the Great Storm of 1979 in Washington D.C. So she said it was like 10 to 15 feet of snow on the ground.
Oh my
So,
gosh. So 2 months in the neonatal intensive care unit back then, and how the neonatal intensive care unit, how much it has changed since then, right?
mhm,
And and you mentioned as well that you're a preemie
mhm.
that had a preemie. Now, and it's your daughter, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. What's your daughter's name?
her name is Brooke Giselle Hall.
Brooke Giselle Hall. And
Yeah.
how old is Brooke now?
She is now 9 years old and a very, very active 9 year old.
Oh, good. And how early was she born?
She was born at 25 weeks.
Wow, I know I had 25 weekers. They were twins, but tell me about your experience
Oh,
with Brooke.
it was
Yeah.
very weird. I was
Mm,
38 years old, so I was considered what was it, advanced maternal age for
right,
myself.
right.
So I went to the doctor frequently when I was pregnant with her. So I would say I would
Yep.
have 3 or 4 appointments during the week.
Yeah. Yep.
And my water just suddenly broke. And there was no explanation. I called everyone. I'm like, is this normal? Is this what happens? And everyone was like, yeah, that could happen, but
Mm,
wait until the morning
mm,
and it got worse.
yeah.
So I said, you know what, I'm going to the doctor. So when I went to the doctor, they were like, yeah, your water is broken, but we don't know what fluid this is. And I'm like, excuse me, you're medical professionals. What do you mean you don't know what fluid is?
Mm,
And yeah, it was crazy. And they were like, well, we want to hold you
yeah.
for the rest
Yeah.
of your pregnancy.
Yeah. You're like, and how much time? And I think, Christy, one of the things that you're um, pointing to, and a lot of other preemie parents will recognize, is the degree to how much they don't know, right? And
Mm-hmm.
how much uh, premature birth, it's not a diagnosis, it's an occurrence, and there's just so many um, reasons why, and so many of them are unknown. How long after, like, how far along were you when your water broke? Um, and that did they, were you on bed rest for some period of time or did they have to deliver right away?
They had to deliver right away, and they tried to sedate me. They told me, we want you to stay in the hospital for 2 weeks, because the hospital I was at, they said that they had no capability of, having a baby at 25 weeks, and she
Yeah.
would have to get airlifted to another hospital, which is
Yeah.
what actually happened. And that evening, the contractions just were coming so badly. And I was
Mm,
like, excuse me, I have to have this baby, because
mm,
they were not stopping.
yeah.
So I had her at midnight.
That same day.
Yes.
Wow. And so and you didn't get um so you were still at the same hospital. I'm guessing it probably was a level two where they didn't have that kind of neonatal intensive care unit to care
Right.
for babies. Like usually I think it's 28 or 30 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to keep track of all the details, but at a certain point, yeah. And so was your daughter then, your daughter did end up being airlifted to another hospital?
Yeah, she was airlifted to a hospital that was maybe 20 minutes away, so not so far away,
Mm,
but far away enough that, after I had her, I just was concerned, and I was just
right.
going through the motions, because I did end up having a C-section,
Oh,
unlike
you
my other.
did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Mhm.
So you had to so you had to recover.
Yes, because another thing that we found out, she was also breech. So that was the reason for the C-section too.
I was gonna say that would be a C-section no matter what, right?
Mm,
Because of the breach.
yeah.
Yeah. And what did they so did I guess because it was the amount of time was so brief between being in the being in the hospital and the delivery, did they have a chance to do any of the steroid shots for her lungs or things like that? Do you remember?
Yes, they did that as soon as she was born. So
Did
they
they?
did do that to, keep
Yeah.
her
Hmm.
alive. They said they had to give her that immediately.
Yeah. And what was her journey like? What was your journey like?
Oh,
Did you
man.
have other did you have other children at home?
No, she's my only child.
Oh, okay.
And actually, for me, I was living in Texas, and my family's from Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
So I had very few family members there too.
Mm,
So
yeah. It
yeah.
just added
Hmm.
to the complexity of it all. Yeah. Yeah, share with us if you wouldn't mind about, your experience with your daughter in the neonatal intensive care unit, what that was like.
It was ups and downs.
Mm,
She okay, because she breathed on her own after a week.
wow.
And
That's awesome.
ironically, that continued to be the problem during her stay. And I'm like, I don't understand this.
How so?
Because one minute they would say, yeah, she's doing fine with her breathing. Oh, she needs a little help, and the oxygen help they gave her wasn't that much. It was, I would
Yeah.
say, like this,
Yeah,
literally.
yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you're saying she's doing well, but she needs oxygen. And she had the PDA ligation surgery,
Yeah.
had
PDI
that.
ligation, that's pretty common for they try they usually, give it some time. They'll try. I know there's medicine that they usually try first to see if that can make the difference and also the
Hmm.
degree to which um, the PDA is it creating is it creating issues, right? So she had a PDA ligation.
Hmm.
Um,
And she had that, and she had two others. Okay, she had the G tube.
yep,
And actually, me and the hospital kind of went back and forth for like 7 months about that whole thing, because I didn't want her to have it. Because when I went in there to feed her, when I visited, she ate
yeah,
just fine.
hmm,
Well, took her bottles.
yeah,
And when I was home, the nurses would be like, "Oh, well, she's breathing too heavily. Her heart
hmm,
rate is too fast." And I don't understand that. When I'm there, she's fine.
yeah, hmm,
And it was one more that she had to have. I can't think of the last right now.
Did she come home with a G tube or
Yes,
she did? Oh,
yes,
okay.
because ultimately she was in a coma the last month.
A coma. What
Yes.
happened?
Okay, it was the night after I had an appointment with the doctors trying to
Yeah.
explain why she was in there so long because
Yeah.
again, oh yeah, I didn't mention she's had like 14 different doctors. And every time we had some progress,
Mm,
they assigned a new doctor and the doctor, oh, I have to get familiar with her records to let you know and then that doctor would be gone. So that
mm.
was another thing that happened.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard for
And
sure.
yeah, and so after I had an appointment with hospital staff, directors, and everyone, I wanted to airlift her to another hospital because I said, y'all aren't giving me the answers I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that night, the
Mm.
doctor called and he said, Miss Hall, I want to try this treatment and this should help her with her breathing. I'm like, she doesn't have bad. I said, I don't understand the issue with the breathing because it's like
Mm.
it was very little.
Yeah.
And when he did this procedure, she went into the coma.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Huh.
And I was like, wow, I don't know.
Mm.
I felt bad because I'm like, did I cause this because I had this meeting with everyone
Right.
to move
No,
her or what?
an outside observer would be like, Christy, no, that's crazy. But you know what? When you're a parent in the neonatal intensive care unit every day and your baby is going through everything that they're going through, it's traumatic. And so you start
Yeah.
to question. It's not unusual to question yourself and am I making the right decisions? Did you find, I'm curious through, I mean, this is, uh, it sounds so, I mean, I understand after we lost our son Graham,
Mhm.
we thought about should we transfer our daughter to a different neonatal intensive care unit, just partly just to be in a different
Different
place,
opinion.
just like a, because it was heavy for us to go back. So I can appreciate that. Did you stay at the same neonatal intensive care unit or did you end up moving?
I stayed.
You stayed, yeah.
They did a great job, with reviving her back, and that was a
Mm,
time where they came in, they told me to pull the plug on her. They told me that sometimes babies die and I need to face it. And of course, I went off on them about that. It's like, just
mm,
get out of my room.
mm,
God has the final say if she lives or dies. We just have to see what happens.
yeah.
So,
Mm,
that was what I went through because I didn't
mm,
know if she was going to pull through. And she opened her
yeah.
eyes after a month and she was home.
Wow. What, out of curiosity, did you find any, um, I'm glad you found us now to share your story. I know it was 9 years ago. During that, journey, did you find any support, whether it was, peer support or the social worker at the NICU? I mean, yeah, did you find, is there anything that you found that you could, or friends or family or, yeah, what, if anything, were you able to lean on to help you during that time?
Yeah, my family was there. My mom's sister and her kids and her husband, they were there to help. I had one nurse that really got attached to my baby that was
Mm,
there throughout the whole time because during her stay, had to be moved to the heart unit, and that
mm,
nurse moved with her, and
mm,
she was helpful. And I had a good doctor that helped me after we went home because I didn't know what was going to happen because I was there by myself, not married, and
yeah.
I had to go to work. And actually, through this whole time, I was working. And not only was I working, I was an acting supervisor of a unit of 14 people. So I don't know
Wow.
how I did that. I have
There's
no idea.
there's a lot of us that look back of things that we've gone through and we don't know how we did it, whether it's this or, other kind of traumatic events. Somehow we humans are pretty resilient when we when, when we have to be, but it's kind of it is It's so incredibly taxing. We had a couple of nurses that we got close to as well. I think that's fortunately, I think that's usual. I do think that that happens quite often. So I'm glad that you had that
Mhm.
experience. So how Brooke was in the NICU how long then? 2, 3 months or longer?
No, it was 10 months.
10 months.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess with all that yeah, with all that you're sharing. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it was 10 months. And, through that time, I bonded with other families too.
Yeah, I bet.
And it was one wing of the hospital
Hmm.
in the NICU where the babies were dying. I would see the
Yeah,
parents, I would talk to them, and then babies are gone.
yeah.
I just can't, what I was compelled to do
Hmm.
is write the book because I said
Yeah,
these stories are only on NICU walls and not beyond that.
yeah.
So that's why.
Yeah, the stories, I have to say, it, um, I found the stories, our NICU had stories, right?
Mhm.
They were we made it through stories. Um, I found them actually difficult and not that helpful. Um, because when you're going through what you're going through,
Mhm.
especially if it's intense, if you're again, my point of view, my lens that I read those stories were a lens of having lost a baby and then having to go back um and not being out of the woods and still having some challenges with our daughter. So I don't know. It was when you're in the thick of it, it's almost like being in the middle of war and then
Mhm.
hearing about heroes. It's like I don't need to hear about heroes
Mhm.
right now, you know? I'm
Mhm.
in the thick of it. Um, and so I appreciate the desire to be encouraging, but I don't know, I wasn't quite ready for it yet, I guess. And so you were compelled after you came home to be
Mhm.
able, to share. So tell us more about, yeah, tell us more about that. And you've
Yeah.
read, is there more than one? I apologize. Is there more than one book?
It's just one book now.
Okay.
I'm actually
Okay.
working on the journal and the workbook right now.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
And but I will
Yeah.
say this, that's just how I am naturally. If
Mm,
I'm going through anything, I want to help somebody else. I'm just
mm,
like that.
yeah.
And I just felt, how can I help someone? How can I,
Mm,
number one, get trained to tell the story?
mm,
And how can I help? So I
mm,
went and I got my life coach certification. That's one thing I did.
mm,
And during her NICU stay, I started writing the book.
mm. So it's been, and Brooke is 9.
Yes.
So you've been working on this for a while. This is not something that you just thought about willy-nilly. You've been
Hmm.
persistent.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So tell us more about, if you wouldn't mind, tell us more about the book.
Okay. The book definitely shares, I have the comparison of my mother's journey and mine,
Mm,
briefly, and then I
yeah.
go straight into my story.
Yeah.
But it just mentions, for me as a mother, what I went through. I felt disappointment of not having a baby in a traditional nuclear family.
Sure.
So that's something I went through mentally. And,
Yeah.
once I had her, I just went into mommy mode. I went
Mm,
not only mommy mode, I went to advocate mode.
mm.
So, just I became that mother who was the researcher who constantly went in, Googled different things that I was told by medical doctors. And I came back, hey, this is not adding up to what you're telling me. Can you
Yeah.
explain this? And they got frustrated with me because I was doing that. so so you can imagine, because I argued with most doctors that were assigned to her. And like I told you, it's like 14 or 15 different doctors during that whole time.
Yeah, I think it's important for parents to, number one, it is important to be an advocate. And it's a balance of being a parent and it's like you're really kind of thrown into
Yeah.
advocacy, or at least I would recommend it
Mm-hmm.
um, because the more you the more you advocate, the more that you show, because they're humans too, and so the more
Yes.
that you show that you're interested and that you care and that you want to know, and some have better communication skills than others in all walks of life, not just in the neonatal intensive care unit. So yeah, it does require some patience on the parents' part, but finding your voice, I think
Mm-hmm.
is important. And yes, Dr. Google can take you down uh, can take you a lot of places. But I think, I'll give a little plug for the for our My Preemie app. In the app, we've got all the common terms that you might, as a parent, run into in the neonatal intensive care unit. And if you come across one of those terms, we then have suggested questions that you might
Mm-hmm.
ask your doctor or nurse. And it's really meant to um, encourage you as a parent to understand the specifics of your baby's
Mm-hmm.
situation, right? Because there's the term, but how is that how is that applying to my baby? Because your baby is one of one. Your baby is not a statistic.
Yeah.
I mean, statistics are statistics, but your baby is your baby, and he or she is a unique. We all have a unique journey and a unique situation, and so that advocacy is so important. So the name of the book. Remind everyone, remind our listeners.
It's Brooktails, a baby's NICU story and a mother's healing journey.
Hmm. How'd you call? Oh, Brooktail. I get it. Clever, very clever. I'm with you. Um, now, how is Brooke excited about?
She feels a little way, Mom, why are you writing a book about me? I said, well, Brooke, I'm writing a book about you. But I said it's more than just about you. It's about
Yeah,
educating others and sharing a story that could encourage them. Because within the
yeah,
book, there's also journal entries at the end of every chapter, questions. So
mm,
I want it to be more than just a book, but a tool
yeah.
that any NICU parent or family can use if they're in this situation.
No, that's fantastic. If you had a chance through the life coaching, have you had a chance to work with other parents?
Not yet, but I
Okay,
talk to them a lot on Facebook.
yeah.
I'm in all the NICU support groups that, I've joined. And actually, when I go out, even just talking about the book, I meet a lot of former preemies, or they'll say, you
Yeah.
know what, I have a family member who is a preemie. So more
Mm,
people are speaking out, and I definitely encourage more to do so because, like you explained earlier, when you're going through it, you may go through a period where you're like, I'm going through this. I want to worry about my situation or my time.
yeah,
I want people to be more comfortable with just being open about it
yeah,
because it's more
yeah.
common than we think.
It is, but but it is, but we don't walk around with,
I know.
hey, I've got a baby in the neonatal intensive care unit right now, or so that's the thing is like it just kind of becomes, wonder what happened to, just kind of people might have questions, and then what do you say? And we have some recommendations on our website, and I know they're out there, but like, what do you say to a parent that's had a baby that's born early, and unless you've been through it,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way to really appreciate the kind of edge of life and death that your baby is on, and that
Yeah.
it's like you congratulate that. It's just it's a tricky situation, again, unless you've been through it. As I always say, the preemie parent community is one that really wants, nobody plans on belonging to
Mhm.
would choose it, but when you go through it, then you have a level of empathy that you can really understand and appreciate what other parents, and their situation is going to be different. Yours
Mhm.
is very, yours was special and unique, and everybody's is, um, but there is a certain level of bonding that you have because yeah, I think you can appreciate the emotional experience that the
Mhm.
parents are going through, which that seems to me that hasn't, in the nearly 20 years that I've been talking to other parents, that seems to be pretty consistent, even though
Mhm.
medical technology has improved and changed and they're getting better and better. It's still emotionally taxing for
Mhm.
sure. Um, so the book, and then you said you're working on a companion workbook as well.
Yes, a
Yeah.
companion workbook and also a journal. So those will be coming soon.
Okay.
Yes.
And do you have, is there anything, I guess this is really, and oh, where is the book available now or is it's going to be available soon? I forget, remind us.
Well, the book is actually available on Amazon, on Barnes and Nobles, and all global outlets. So Brooktail
Okay.
is available.
Okay, fantastic. And I know we're going to have a special giveaway during Parents of Preemie's Day. So we're excited about that. Do you have any other upcoming events or Um, anything else that you'd like to share about? I want to give you a chance to totally, brag on your daughter and share with everybody about Brooke. And you said she's 9, right? I think you said she's nine
Yes,
years old now.
she is 9 and she is a science genius.
Uh,
She's a part of her Destination Imagination program here in Charles County, where she does scientific debates. She likes
wow.
to run. She can run very fast, but for some reason, she fears the word competition. And I'm like, I was a track runner myself.
Okay.
And I'm like, it doesn't matter, just have fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also, I am being featured on a new docuseries called The New Entrepreneur Series,
Okay.
and that's coming soon.
That's
And
exciting.
yeah, I'm excited. And the books, like I mentioned, I believe I said the books will be featured as an exhibit in the LA Times Festival of Books and also BookCon, and they're both happening on April the 19th.
Oh, wow. That's exciting. Will you be going to what's BookCon? I haven't heard of that before.
The same LA Times, actually, they're still responsible for BookCon, from what I
Okay.
understand. So the same, the same company.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it's generally the same. More, I'm hearing BookCon is more pop culture. Of course,
Okay.
LA Times Book Festival. A lot of
Yeah.
celebrities are featured authors.
Right. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, that's exciting.
Yes,
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. You've been persistent,
yes,
obviously, right? And I'm sure you help your coachees. Is that the right term? Right?
yes.
Your coachees with that as well. Is there anything else before we wrap up our conversation, I guess, is there anything else that you'd want to share? Any words of wisdom or advice or just thoughts with the preemie parents that are listening to this to
Mhm.
our conversation today? Anything else you'd
Uh,
like to share with them?
yeah, like you mentioned, sometimes when we're going through, you may not, even though it's a situation that you may feel like, why is this happening to me?
Mm, mm,
But I would say the question is, why not? You're a
mm,
special person. Your baby is special.
yeah.
And, sometimes champions definitely are special people. We all are.
Mm,
And you're listening to one right now.
mm,
So I live my life always to exceed expectations and to do the best that I can. And I'm sure,
yeah.
Mr. Hall, you do as well.
Trying, trying every day, Christy. Well, listen,
Mhm.
I really appreciate you taking the time today to share your journey, your daughter Brooke's journey, and we're excited to have a book giveaway, Brook Tales, during Parents of Preemie Day 2026, and we absolutely wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you so much. And you
Yeah.
can find me at www.kristeehall.com
Uh,
or www.thefedchick.com.
Excellent. We'll be sure, and we will be sure to include those hyperlinks in the show notes, as we call it. So we will make sure that everybody can get to those links easily.